This helicopter fought in Panama, tore into Iraq's radar network in Desert Storm, and went right back to tank hunting like it was born for it. And the U.S. Army still plans to keep it flying into the 2060s. This is the real reason the U.S. military won't retire the Boeing AH-64 Apache. The Apache does a job that never stops mattering. When troops are down there in the chaos, you still need something that can arrive fast, spot trouble first, hit hard, and survive long enough to do it again. But to truly understand why it's still here, you have to rewind to the rules that shaped Army aviation. After World War II, the U.S. split up what each branch could operate, and agreements like the 1948 Key West Agreement pushed combat fixed-wing power toward the Air Force. So the Army built its air strength where it was allowed to. Helicopters. Not for air shows, because rotary-wing aircraft could stay close to soldiers, move with ground units, and react in real time. That's why the Apache isn't just a helicopter with missiles. It's a ground war aircraft with rotors, made to talk to troops, fight for troops, and stay in the ugly part of the battlefield where decisions happen fast and support has to be immediate. By the early 1970s, the Army was leaning on the AH-1 Cobra. It worked, but it wasn't the heavy hitter they actually wanted. It didn't have the reach, the load, or the headroom to grow into the kind of attack helicopter the mission demanded. The plan had been to move on to the AH-56 Cheyenne, a big swing at what the future was supposed to look like. The Cobra was just the placeholder. Then the Cheyenne program fell apart, and the placeholder suddenly became the reality. So the Army did the only logical thing left. It opened a new competition. That's what the Advanced Attack Helicopter program was really about. Not style, not prestige. Pure performance where it counts. They needed more range, more firepower, and a machine that could stay lethal in rough conditions, especially down low, skimming terrain, weaving around obstacles, and using the ground itself as cover to stay out of radar and sight. Nap of the Earth flying sounds cool until you remember what it means in real life. You're threading needles at speed while someone out there is trying to swat you out of the sky. A bunch of companies stepped up. Hughes came out on top, beating Bell, and the key reason wasn't flashy at all. It was survival. The Army wasn't shopping for a helicopter that could only hit hard. It wanted one that could get hit and still keep going long enough to get the crew back. That choice shaped the Apache from day one. This wasn't going to be a delicate machine. It was going to be a flying combat vehicle. And while that helicopter was taking shape, its signature weapon was forming too. The Hellfire missile entered development in 1974, and the match was obvious early on. If your core job is killing armor with precision, you build around that kill chain. Spot first, strike fast, and don't sit around waiting for the enemy to shoot back. The Apache first left the ground on September 30, 1975, when the AH-64 prototype flew. By the early 1980s, real production helicopters were coming off the line, and in April 1986, it officially entered service. From that point on, it earned its reputation by sticking to one ruthless rule: stay alive long enough to find the target, then hit it first. You can see that mindset in the crew setup. It's built for two people, a pilot and a co-pilot OR gunner, but the real advantage is backup. If one person goes down, the other can still fly and fight. That same keep going even under fire thinking shows up everywhere else too, with key parts protected and the fuel and rotor systems designed to handle the kind of punishment you only plan for if you expect trouble. Performance-wise, it's not trying to be the fastest thing in the sky. It's fast enough to get to the fight, stay on task, and stay dangerous down low where helicopters do their best work. Then you get to the loadout. The Apache's short wings carry pylons that can be configured with Hellfire missiles, rockets, and other stores depending on the mission, and it backs that up with a 30mm chain gun for lighter vehicles and troops. The gun is the flashy part everyone remembers, but the real tank killer personality comes from how the missiles are integrated with the helicopter's targeting and fire control systems. That's why the Longbow upgrade mattered so much. After the Gulf War, the Army pushed the fleet into the AH-64 Longbow standard. It brought improvements across the board, but the defining feature was the radar mounted above the rotor. That placement lets the Apache look while staying mostly hidden behind terrain, then pop just enough to identify targets and launch without giving away its whole body. And this wasn't a small step up. It could detect and classify up to 256 threats and rank them by danger, which is exactly the kind of advantage you want when seconds are everything. From there, the Apache stops feeling like a lone predator and starts operating like part of a bigger system. Its sensors got sharper, its ability to track targets got cleaner, and it became far more reliable in rough weather and low visibility. It can even spot signs of hostile fire and trigger defensive reactions fast when a crew is still processing what's happening. And with modern data links, it can pass target info out and pull updates in, staying synced with the wider fight. Then, there's the feature that still sounds wild: helmet cueing. If the pilot or gunner looks at something, the chain gun can follow that gaze. In a close fight, that isn't a cool trick. It's speed, and speed is often the difference between getting out clean or getting caught. But the Apache isn't defined by upgrades alone. Its reputation comes from where it's been used. In 1989, it saw combat in Operation Just Cause in Panama, flying plenty of missions, often at night. Working alongside other strike assets, it proved it could hit hard targets in the dark with precision, and that kind of accuracy changes how safe troops feel when they hear rotors overhead. Then, Desert Storm happens, and the Apache leans back into what it was built for. Early on, it helped punch gaps in Iraq's radar coverage during the opening strikes. After that, it went after armor in the ground campaign, and the whole tank. Killer concept stopped being theory and turned into real-world results. Later, in the Balkans, the Apache ran into a different lesson. Strong air defenses shrink your options. It's dangerous for a reason, but it still has to respect layered threats. You don't just muscle through a well-defended sky. And after 9/11, the mission shifts again. Iraq and Afghanistan became long counterinsurgency wars, and the Apache turned into a rapid response strike platform for troops on the ground. It fit because it could stay low, react quickly, find what mattered, and deliver precise fire without needing a runway or a long setup. Those wars also made one thing painfully clear. This isn't a simple machine you toss into combat and forget about. In the early Iraq War, defenders damaged enough Apaches that the Army started thinking twice about sending them deep behind enemy lines. The message wasn't that the Apache can't fight. It was that even the best helicopter gets hurt if the enemy is ready and the sky is full of fire. So the response shifted toward sharper tactics, smarter upgrades, and tighter coordination, because surviving isn't just about taking a hit. It's about seeing the threat first, striking fast, and exiting before the danger tightens around you. And the Apache carries the two burdens every high-end weapon system carries: training and upkeep. If crews aren't fully current on the gear that makes the Apache deadly at night, the aircraft loses one of its biggest advantages. And even when the aircraft performs well in the air, the work doesn't end there. Keeping it ready in harsh conditions takes constant effort because complex systems demand constant attention. So why does a platform with this much age and wear still have a future into the 2060s? Because the battlefield is steering the Army back toward the Apache's original job, just with modern tools. The war in Ukraine has forced a hard rethink of armored warfare, what survivability looks like, how fast the kill chain has to move, and how quickly you have to detect, decide, and engage. That's exactly why the Apache's upgrades, better engines, stronger sensors, the Longbow radar, and modern networking are being aimed back at anti-armor lethality, built for a fight, where seconds can decide who lives. And the Apache's next chapter isn't about pretending it's new, it's about plugging it into the Army's next way of fighting. That means teaming with unmanned systems, tying into ISR, and delivering precision strikes as part of a wider network. In plain terms, the Apache becomes a place where information turns into action, while drones extend its eyes and reduce how often it has to show itself. You can see the Army rehearsing that future already. In May 2025, an Apache flew during a large joint, multi-domain exercise designed to simulate real operations across air, land, and cyber, with multiple partner units practicing shared targeting and battlefield communications. Watch what U.S. allies are doing with their budgets, and you get the real signal. They're still choosing the Apache. Australia's AH-64Es aren't being pitched as nostalgia purchases. They're being positioned for literal maneuver and long-range strike, and Australia is spending big on the bases, support equipment, and facilities needed to operate them properly. Now, the argument everyone throws at the Apache sounds brutal. The Army is moving toward aircraft that are simply faster and farther reaching. Under FLRAA, the Black Hawk is set to be replaced by a tiltrotor, the Bell V-280 Valor, now designated MV-75. And yes, the numbers look like an obituary. The Apache sits around 182 miles per hour with roughly a 3-mile combat range. The MV-75 is projected around 345 miles per hour with about a 920-mile combat range. That's not a small upgrade, that's a different map. But speed and range don't automatically delete the Apache, because FLRAA is primarily a mobility leap, not an attack helicopter swap. Its job is to move troops deeper, quicker, and more flexibly. The moment you do that, you create an even bigger demand for protection, overwatch, and precision strike that can react in real time with the ground fight. That's where the Apache stays valuable. Not as the fastest platform, but as the one that helps keep the formation alive and dangerous once it gets there. And there's a quieter reality that matters more than hype. A replacement isn't a single aircraft purchase. It's a full ecosystem, training pipelines, maintenance culture, supply chains, tactics, software integration, and cost over decades. The Apache already has that infrastructure at scale across the force. It's understood, supported, and continuously refined, which makes it harder to displace than people think. Then you look at the clearest clue of all, what the Army walked away from. The next generation attack and reconnaissance effort was terminated in February 2024, with the Army pointing to how modern warfare has shifted, heavily shaped by what drones have proven they can do in places like Ukraine. That decision didn't erase the need for attack aviation. It reshaped the path forward, and in that new path, a helicopter that can be upgraded and networked quickly becomes a bridge the Army can actually use right now. That's why Boeing keeps pitching a modernized Apache, faster upgrades without a brand new aircraft program. Because the reason it survives isn't sentiment, it's usefulness. Ground forces still need something that can show up close, operate in messy conditions, and deliver precise fire when it counts. The Longbow era didn't just add a radar, it changed how the Apache fights by helping crews spot threats faster and sort what matters. Then, networking pulled it into modern warfare, where sharing targets and receiving updates is part of the job. And because so many allies keep buying and flying it, the support pipeline stays strong. On top of that, the Army's whole approach is shifting as drones reshape scouting and target finding. That shift doesn't kill the Apache, it gives it a new lane. Stay lethal while relying more on unmanned eyes to reduce how often it has to expose itself. And here's the part that matters most. In the next fight, speed and range will change how assaults happen. The Apache doesn't need to win a race. It needs to be the aircraft that arrives with the best picture, the right weapons, and the links to plug into the plan at the exact moment the fight turns. If you want more breakdowns like this, simple, grounded, and focused on what the mission really demands, subscribe and stick with us. When the next major war kicks off, does the Apache survive by getting faster or by getting smarter and more connected than whatever's trying to kill it?